The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The 2.9-kilometer Roosevelt Avenue will be renamed after the late king of Philippine movies, Fernando Poe Jr. Marty Bautista with a story.
Regarded as the king of Philippine movies and later declared as a national artist, Fernando Poe Jr., or FPJ, will be remembered as an everlasting icon in the country. And there's no better way to remember the king than to rename a whole avenue under his famous initials. This as President Duterte signed the law renaming Roosevelt Avenue in Quezon City to Fernando Poe Jr. Avenue. News 5 visited the late actor's ancestral home to better understand the history and the grandeur surrounding the place he grew up in. Nearby was a car repair shop where Mang Rudy resided in. Residents said that Mang Rudy had known FPJ back in the day. Aside from FPJ, other famous personalities like Rudy Fernandez, Samboy Lim, and Joseph Estrada would visit to get together and hold jamming sessions in his ancestral home along Roosevelt Avenue. Mang Rudy believes that it is not a problem to rename the avenue after FPJ.
Sa akin naman okay naman yun dahil kasi Pilipino naman yun eh. Ang pagkakalang po sa Roosevelt, ano ba yung dating presidente ng Amerika, di ba? Oo. Ay, siyempre, kung Pilipino yun si PJ, ay di, okay naman yun. Wala nang problema yun.
FPJ's closest friend and former stuntman also lived nearby. Nonoy de Guzman used to grace FPJ's action-packed films and was even part of his political sortie during his 2004 presidential bid. Even Nonoy expressed joy knowing that Roosevelt Street, the place where he and his beloved friend grew up in, was to be renamed after FPJ.
Yung party yan, yung doon sa studio. Hindi inuman doon, kwento-kwentuhan, na sige, party, lahat masaya o Bigla na lang itong siya, pa-shot-shot lang o hindi pa nakakatatlong bote ng ng beer na biglang napasigaw siya. Di ngayon, sabi niya ni Binay, itakbo nyo na sa yan, sa ospital. Ngayon, nung mga grupo, sinakay na nga sa sasakyan niya, tinakbo namin sa St. Luke. Doon yung pala, inatake na siya
The long stretch of Fernando Poe Jr. Avenue is a 2.9-kilometer road that starts from Quezon Avenue and ends at the intersection of EDSA. Now, onlookers will remember the king every time they pass by the avenue. For News 5, Marty Bautista, we are One News.
Meanwhile, the government has released guidelines simplifying the COVID-19 vaccination process in a bid to ramp up inoculation amid upswing in COVID-19 cases. Under the new guidelines, those who want to get vaccinated do not need to register and can simply walk into vaccination sites. They also don't need to secure a medical clearance unless they are suffering from HIV, cancer, and autoimmune diseases. Additionally, those who are bedridden are undergoing steroid treatments, as well as transplant patients, will also need to secure their medical clearance. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. For Senator Risa Hontiveros, the daily testing rate for COVID-19 should be around 150,000 to prevent more undetected cases. Speaking to 1PH sa Totoo Lang, Hontiveros said that the current rate of testing is too low to gather enough data on actual infections in the country. Thus, she again calls on the IATF to double the testing rate to ensure the accuracy of daily tallies.
Pangatlong taon na ito na nananawagan ako sa IATF na itaas yung rate nila ng PCR tests to 150,000 kada araw. So halos kailangan nilang doblehin para ma-capture yung totoong sitwasyon natin, no? Na hindi napakarami ang undetected cases.
The world's best tennis players react to Novak Djokovic visa saga days before the Australia Open is set to begin. Let's watch this.
I think it's an unfortunate situation. Like, he's such a great player, and it's kind of sad that some people might remember him in this way. But I also think it's up to, not tennis players, it's up to the government, like how Australia's deciding to handle it. So, yeah, I know what it's like to kind of be in his situation, in like a place that you're getting asked about that person, and to just like see like comments from other players is not like the greatest thing. So I'm just trying to keep it positive.
Como he dicho antes, ¿no? Estamos ante uno de los torneos más importantes del mundo, sin ninguna duda. No hay nadie de nosotros somos más importante que el deporte por sí mismo, y la realidad es que estamos en una situación que se ha complicado más de la cuenta, que se ha liado y se ha alargado en el tiempo, o sea que yo ahora mismo lo que estoy es centrado en mi entrenamiento de esta mañana que he hecho, después supongo un entrenamiento de la tarde, y a partir de ello en el último entrenamiento de mañana antes de debutar el lunes, ¿no? Con lo cual a mí personalmente no me va a afectar mucho, ¿no? Si termina jugando bien, y si no termina jugando, pues es lo que hay, ¿no? Al final a mí no me cambia. Yo, para llegar a tener un enfrentamiento contra él tendría que ser en semifinales, y yo tengo un trabajo larguísimo por delante, como es siempre, que es toda la dificultad que conlleva jugar un Grand Slam y avanzar, y segundo, después de tanto tiempo sin competir, ¿no? O sea que yo estoy totalmente centrado en lo mío, ¿no?
I feel like the situation, I feel that it has taken away a little bit from the great tennis that's been happening over this summer in Australia. For example, Andy Murray, I mean, he's in the final tonight, which I think is pretty incredible to see him come back and win and play so well. Definitely rooting for him later on. So I feel like in that way, it has been.
I don't know enough of the situation, but I do think that if it would not be Novak Djokovic, world number one with 20 Grand Slams and all that, then it would be not as big of a drama. That I do believe. But everything else I cannot comment, because I'm not a politician. I understand the perspective from the Australian people, the Australian government, but the Australian government and the Victorian government should have been clear on what is going to happen beforehand. And I think it's not very fair for a person to come here and not be able to play.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 12 noon as we continue to monitor today's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.